if I was to look back and think I haven't worked hard enough for my family, that would be a bigger regret than me missing a few moments, right?
With all the things you have going on, are you truly able to balance every single thing in your life perfectly? All right, so a subscriber emailed me this video from a content creator by the name of Shisha Zed from the Coffee Pod. And it looks like he was expressing openly about his struggles with fatherhood, being a husband, business, work, and keeping his life grounded within God and his spirituality and his faith. All these particular plates spinning all at once and being able to figure out how to balance it all at once. Like, do you know how to properly balance every single thing perfectly in your life at the same time while you're trying to progress in your particular life? I truly don't think everybody can. And as a married Christian man with continued success in my career, I resonated a lot with his struggles that he was expressing in this video because I'm going through the same thing. And later on in this video, I'm going to tell you why. So stick around because I want to show you guys the initial reaction when I watched this video and discuss why it's important to talk about these things openly, because as everyday Christians, we still have a God-given purpose that we have to pursue. But before we begin, please make sure you like the video for the algorithm, subscribe if you enjoy more faith-based content, and please share this with your family and friends if you find this video to be a blessing. Let's get into it.
What's up, guys? So I made this channel because I thought it might be a good idea for me to have a place I could just be honest. I could be a little bit more open about my personal life. Now, there is going to be a little bit of that here, but not too much. I don't want to get too open. That's one thing about me is I'm very private. I'm a very private person. Nevertheless, I wanted a place where I could be honest with my subscribers. This is very different from the main channel. On here, I'm just going to talk, most likely just rant about whatever's on my mind. And right now, that is the challenge of figuring out how to properly balance everything that's going on in my life. So much has changed, man. So much has changed. I'm finding it very difficult to choose what I want to focus on because I want to do so much with my life, right? And one of the things I've been struggling with recently is timing, how to manage my time properly. And I never used to struggle with this until I had a family. Many of you have probably seen me go from dating. First of all, I was single for a while, dating, and then now being married and having a family. Now that I'm married and I'm experiencing the growth of, the brand and the channel, and currently released a new resource and website and service, fathershaverights.com, where I help men with prenuptial agreements, so on and so forth, and keeping up with the content. There's this thing in the back of my mind and this desire to constantly want to be around my family. Particularly, I want to make sure I'm near my son more often. The thing is, if you're somebody who has a business or you're working and you have a family, you can all relate to this, right? If you're a father, you can relate to this. Even if you're somebody who has a very wonderful marriage or relationship, there's this struggle between figuring out, should I spend time focusing, or rather, how should I spend time focusing and allocate time with family and time with building my future? Because there's so much I want to do, man. There's so much I want to do. I mean, I have like other channels that I want to start, and all this isn't me losing focus of the main thing, because that's something I try to be very much particular about. What I mean by that is a lot of people think that the number one most valuable thing in life is time, but really it's focus. And a lot of the other things I want to do are really channels like the one you're on right now that have to do with different elements of who I am as an individual that I don't think I can really speak to the type of audience I want to speak to on the main channel, the main Shisha Zed channel.
So I personally resonate with what he's talking about so far right now. And the reason being is because with me being a married husband for the past 9 years, finally having a child, he's 2 years old. There is a constant struggle now that I currently deal with in my everyday life of knowing that I have so much going on within my career and also with my outside of my career, with building things and being able to, become more successful. And then also even starting this own particular channel from a faith-based content perspective, this also takes time. And the main thing that I always said to myself was I never wanted to take any type of time away from my family because God blessed me with the covenant of marriage, and it also blessed me with the ability to be able to have a child of my own running around this house, pretty much a miniature me. I never wanted to pretty much put my family in a position that says that I'm not around, or daddy's not around, or my husband is not around. And I truly get that because I struggle with it too, because I want to be around, but then also I do want to build something that's going to benefit the household. I do want to build something that is going to benefit the edification of the body of Christ, because I take my direction from God, as the man of the household. I take my direction from God, and I take that and I apply it to my household, and I give it to my wife. Hopefully I apply it to my child. He's still 2 years old, but he'll learn. But I struggle with this so much too, because there's so many things that I want to achieve, but I don't want to tear away the crucial moments of being able to have those times with my child. So I know it's a struggle. It's an everyday struggle. It's like so many spinning plates that you're just trying to balance, but you can't balance them all at once. It's just some things are just going to fall and some things are going to break and they're going to crack. But the good thing about it is, how do you allow God to repair those broken plates? All right. If we think about that, we may not be able to balance everything, but how do we ask God? How do we repair that particular plate with all those cracks, all those broken pieces? How do we repair it with God in order for it to be unbreakable in the future? That's how I kind of look at it, but let's see what he has to say some more.
On the main channel, the main Z channel. So things like my Christianity. I started a new channel that's called Church Brew. That's something that's very, very important to me. And I have another channel called Z, the Family Investor. You guys probably don't know anything about this. Here's what I'll do. I'll link all the channels down to the bottom. I wasn't planning on promoting any of these channels.
And also the link to this particular video and all his subsequent videos will be in that video in the description box down below. I do want to make sure that I give him credit. Shout out to him.
These aren't channels that are separate from like my main thing. These are just, sometimes I'll have these topics that I want to cover, and I know my audience on my main channel, Z, may not be interested, or it may not resonate with the particular audience. And so I thought, why not release these other topics on separate channels? And when it comes to YouTube right now, it's not so much about the size of your followers or subscribers. It's really all about speaking to a particular audience. And so this strategy to me right now really makes sense. So that's something else I'm working on. But yeah, man, the challenge right now is me growing my personal brand, business, finding time to balance spending time with my son and my wife, right? You see, the reason why I didn't focus on my wife so much, because she's so understanding. I have a really understanding wife. She really, truly is. But in the back of my mind, I think about my son. How much time does my son need right now at 8 months? As much as I can try to spend as much time with my son as possible, I realize that I just work so consistently and so hard, but I don't want to ever look back and say, I wish I spent more time. Recently, I've been noticing the small things that I see changing about him, like how fast he's growing. It's just happening so fast. What I'm really happy about is I haven't missed really big moments like him crawling, him starting to attempt to talk more. You know, he said a couple of words here and there. That's what's been on my mind recently. With all that being said, I think the greatest regret for me is looking back. If I was to look back and think I haven't worked hard enough for my family, that would be a bigger regret than me missing a few moments, right? Lastly, I don't think people really realize, single people who don't have kids, that don't have any family, I don't think they realize how much life is about to completely change for them once they have a family. I just had a phone call with one of my good friends, and he was talking about how he's worried about finances, right? He's worried about the future and finances. I'm listening to him talk, and all that's going through my head is like, bro, it's just you. It's just you. You wake up in the morning, and the only person you have to feed is you.
Man, that is facts. That is facts right there. Wow. I think I have a friend in my life currently right now who's single, and sometimes he complains about certain things, and I always think to myself, bruh, it's just you. Like, you just have a house to yourself. It's just you. What are you talking about? What are you complaining about? I mean, I'm not trying to say that people don't go through things, but I also think that sometimes my single friends, you know, and they're my close brothers, you know, they just complain about things that I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm over here struggling. I got to deal with my kid and I got to deal with my family and stuff like that. And it's just you. Oh man, I truly understand that particular feeling right there.
Now I can say that, but I thought the same way before I had a family and a son, and I want to have more kids, right? I used to think the same way, worried about myself. If you just have to worry about feeding yourself, I need you to try and do what I didn't do and appreciate that right now. Appreciate that. And listen, I have a wife who wants to work, who loves to work. She's not somebody who sees herself slowing down when it comes to work anytime in the future. But looking around, I see people and how differently they're able to move because they don't necessarily have that responsibility, a child, a family in their life right now. Now, of course, I'm extremely grateful for my family, and I want a bigger family. I want more. But these are just the things that go through my mind, man. Finally, I don't see how I can keep on going the rest of my life without putting God at the forefront of everything I'm doing. But I just don't see how I can continue to go forward in life without making sure I'm doing a better job as the man of my household, to put God at the forefront of everything I'm doing. That's not always easy, right? It's not always easy, you know, to remain connected, to remember to pray, to look over your life and ask. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's a plane flying over. It's not always easy. A man has to do what a man has to do. At this point of the video, I typically, you know, what I want to do right now is like leave off with a nugget of what I can learn from everything I've said and what people can take away from all this. But that's really all I have, man. I have nothing else to say.
I like this right here. I truly do. I like everything that he said, because every single thing that he's dealing with right now, I'm not as a big of a content creator that he is, and God bless him and his family and his future goals. But I also struggle with the same particular situations currently right now. I struggle with these same exact things because I am trying to juggle so many things at one time for the betterment, not only for myself, but also for the advancement of my family, of my household. Because I want to thrive as a man. I want to thrive within my faith, but I also want my family to thrive too. Thank God that I'm grounded in Jesus Christ. Thank God that I have such an understanding wife. And I resonate with everything that he said, but oh my gosh, it's a lot. It can really be a lot. I appreciate this honesty. I appreciate this vulnerability that Shisha Zed was able to portray in this video, because it's honestly hard to balance work and family commitments. It really is hard to balance work and family commitments. I can apply that to myself here. Outside, when I turn off this camera, I have a very successful, day job. I have a very successful career. Thank God for that. I am purpose driven because this was the God given talent that He gave me to be able to pursue this career, and I'm thankful for that. But also, I have dreams and I have aspirations for myself that God has placed upon me that I want to pursue. And I am actively pursuing those things for myself, but then also for my household, because I want to see my wife thrive. And my wife, she's a hard worker as well too, and she's out there going and get it as well too for herself. But also, I want to. I know it's going to sound crazy, but I also want to be able to have something for my son to be able to look and say, oh, I saw my dad do this and I saw my dad build that. It gives him an example of the work ethic that he should be able to apply to himself. Outside of keeping myself accountable by starting this channel and keeping myself accountable within my Christian faith, I never really said this before, but one of the main reasons why I created this channel on this entire ecosystem that is YouTube and this internet is because if I wasn't here, if I were to somehow God called me home tomorrow, I want to be able to leave nuggets and pieces of things that my son can come back and say, wow, that's my dad right there. Yeah. I want him to be able to look back at these things and say, like, hey, I tried to leave some type of purpose-driven, God-rooted information and, inspiration on this internet so that he can look at it if I'm no longer here and literally say, yeah, that's my dad. And he can learn and discern from these things in order to teach him when he's older. And hopefully, it can go forth, so forth and so on. So that's one of the main reasons, like, not only to keep myself accountable within my faith, but to also document and have something for my son to pretty much be able to look at and be able to, learn from. So it's a struggle. It truly is a struggle. And it's a struggle because I want to be the best father. I want to be the best husband, because this is the first ministry that God has given me, and I'm going to put everything possible into it. But also at the same time, I also want to edify the body of Christ. And I also want to nurture the God-given gifts that God has blessed me with. So many spinning plates. But if I break one, I just hope that God is there to help me put things back together in order for me to continue going forward. Now, if we turn to the scriptures in Ephesians 5, I want to start reading at verse 25. And this should be familiar to anybody who's married or is looking to be married, husbands out there. It says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her, to make her holy, cleansing her with the washing of water by the word. He did this to present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or anything like that, but holy and blameless. In the same way, husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. I really do love these verses right here. And it's not just to, pretty much say, oh my gosh, man wants to own wife and this, that, and the third. No, I love these verses because when I learned them in my marriage counseling going into my marriage, I understood the true meaning of it. I understood the true charge that a husband has within the household. And it's not just to be like, oh, man is above woman. No, it's about the husband being able to receive the direction from God, like literally having the direct line, having the direct connection from God to be able to bless his wife and bless his children, child or children. Like, that's an important task. That's such an important task. And I also, on top of the things that you have to do that is your God-given charge, you also have to handle the things within life that is your God-driven purpose. And that is a lot to handle, especially as a purpose-driven husband, such as myself, and also such as Shisha Zed that was displayed on this video. It is a daily struggle. But you want to know the good thing though? Even though it's a daily struggle, even though I wake up sometimes and I'm overwhelmed by work, even though I start my work day and I got Teams messages going crazy, bizarre. I got 30, 40, 50 emails I got to go through. I got so many projects I got to handle. And then on top of that, I want to go into the gym to make sure that I'm physically fit and I remain healthy as best as possible. And then I want to spend time with my son, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And I want to, nurture this channel, and I want to be able to have conversations from a faith-based perspective with everybody. Still on top of those things, even when I fail at one or I fail at all of them, the good thing about it is I know that God is still right next to me. That's what literally puts a smile on my face. No matter what happens, no matter how many times I fail, no matter how many spinning plates that I have going on, I know I'm going to struggle. But you know what? God is going to be right there next to me every step of the way. And I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so blessed for that. I'm so blessed for that. So shout out to Shisha Zed. I appreciate his authenticity, and please go check out the link that's in the description box down below. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you all think about this video in the comment section down below. But before we leave, please make sure you hit a like for the algorithm and subscribe if you enjoy more faith-based content. I'm gonna get up out of here. Be blessed.